Today is the birthday of one of fashion's most iconic pieces, the blue jean. We'll take a look back at the history of the wardrobe staple on My St. Louis Live.
Well, we're just getting started on My St. Louis Live. Today, a style icon was born. It was a simple piece, but has since changed the way people dress. After the break, we'll take a look back at the history of blue jeans.
Today, my friends, is the birthday of blue jeans. Exactly 152 years ago today, Levi Strauss and also Jacob Davis, who no one's ever heard of, got the patent for blue jeans. Levi was really lucky for this. Here to share more about the very popular fashion piece is one of our favorites and the always fashionable celebrity historian, Raffi Andonian. Good to see you.
Yeah, great to be here. We got the denim hat, speaking of
good.
fashion, but kept the pink bow tie, of course.
Of course, he always has to be elevated. So it begs the question, how did blue jeans get started?
In 1873, you have the patent approved today, as you point out, with both our friend Levi and Jacob, like you said, but Jacob's kind of more forgotten. But the idea behind it is to get stronger fasteners on pants. So see how you have the metal right here, and you have the metal here to support, because these were common places for the pants to rip when people were working.
Okay.
And so what happened is Levi Strauss himself was a businessman who was often importing dry goods, including clothing, all right? And he had money. He was an investor. So one of his customers was the tailor, who is Jacob Davis, who you just talked about. And he is dealing directly with customers who are saying, hey, our pants rip all the time. So he comes up with the idea of putting these reinforcements in these weak areas. And he goes back to Levi, who has the money, who's the investor, and gets him to invest in it. So kind of like you see today, you know, in startup St. Louis, you go for looking for an investor, right? And together they apply for the patent, and that's how you get the blue jeans.
But what's amazing is these have really stood the test of time, born out of necessity, but these are now a staple that basically every American has in their
That's
closet.
right, and they're simultaneously global and American. So yes, they're American, and we think of denim as sort of this American icon, if you will. When you think about sort of America, it replaced, I would say, the coonskin cap. That was sort of back in the day, but in the last 100 years or so, jeans is sort of seen as American. But American culture exports it, and this, of course, is all over the world. But there were versions of denim that were used around the world previously. It's not like they came up with denim and blue jeans entirely. So, for example, you had in ancient Peru, in ancient Egypt. You even have Renaissance paintings representing them. Yes, believe it or not, in Italy and France. And so in the United States, in fact, there was actually an art exhibit in Paris about them recently. And they were like, well, the Americans just copied our stuff. They just added the fasteners. Who cares, you know? But the point is that they do become popular, I would say, especially beyond the working class, which is really how they were seen. In the 1920s, when you had the national sort of, you know, think about the roaring 20s, the it culture, the material culture, the sort of fashion and pop culture being a thing. That's when you have the rise of brands. And so you have Levi's, you have Wrangler, which used to be known as Bluebell, and you have Lee, which are all still around. And I would say that's when they really get popularized, and then take different generations, of course, in recent years, whether it's cowboy westerns, of course, and movies getting popularized, whether it's a rebel like James Dean, or in the civil rights movement trying to show solidarity with the working class, or how about in hip hop, the baggy jeans, of course. We, of course, reacted to the opposite of that. We went skinny jeans shortly after that, because fashion always changes. So I would say that it's a global icon that comes to the United States, but it has been around globally, and of course changes over generations. But I'd say, is there a fashion item that is more enduring, that is more across generations and more popular around the world than the blue jeans?
I don't think so. Close second, in my opinion, is the high heel. But to see much more of Raffi, head to his website, celebrityhistorian.com. We'll also post this segment at firstalertfor.com/mystl live following the show. We'll be right back.